Alhamdulillah, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. May peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Have you ever felt a heaviness inside you that you couldn't explain to anyone? A silence that hurts, a weight you carry alone because you don't even know where to begin. Sometimes Allah places you in moments like these, not to isolate you, but to invite you, to remind you that there is a place where your pain is not judged, where your voice is never too soft, where your silence is fully understood, a place where your heart finally rests, and that place is with Him. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when Allah gently closes the doors of people so that you can finally see the only door that never closes. You try to speak, you try to share, but words betray you and hearts fail to understand you. And in that moment of quiet disappointment, Allah is teaching you something profound. Not every problem is meant to be told to the world. Some pains are gifts. Gifts wrapped in silence so that your heart can learn the language of dua. Because Allah hears what you cannot express. He knows what shakes you in the night, what keeps you awake, what you hide behind your smile. He knows the storm inside your chest long before you try to explain it. Allah says, I am near. And sometimes the only way He teaches you that nearness is by removing the people you thought you needed. But yes, the human heart struggles. You wonder how long you must endure, why certain prayers feel unanswered, why healing feels slow. You wait, you cry, you break, and then you wonder if anyone sees you. This is the part of the journey where sabr is born. This is what sabr truly means. To trust that Allah is working in the unseen, even when your world feels motionless. To believe that your tears are never wasted, that every hardship is rewriting your destiny in ways you cannot yet understand. Remember, the Prophet taught us that whoever relies on Allah, He will be enough for them. So when the pain rises and you feel the urge to run to people, pause, take a breath, return inward, turn your heart upward, whisper your fears to the one who already knows them. People may empathize, but they cannot heal. People may listen, but they cannot carry what was written for your growth. Hold this truth gently. The heart becomes stronger when it leans on Allah alone. Strength isn't the absence of struggle. It is the presence of faith in the midst of it. Your silence with people is not weakness. It is a sign that your soul is learning to speak to its Creator. And every time you choose dua over complaint, tawakkul over panic, surrender over control, you rise, you transform. So the next time your heart feels heavy, don't rush to explain yourself to the world. Sit with your Lord, tell Him everything, cry to Him, complain to Him. He is the only one who can turn pain into wisdom, fear into courage, and loneliness into closeness. Trust His timing, trust His mercy, trust His plan, even when it hurts, even when it confuses you, even when you feel alone. Because you are never truly alone. The one who created your heart is the one who carries it. And when you give your problems to Him, you walk through life lighter, calmer, and unshaken, knowing that the one who never leaves is guiding every step you take toward Him. Not every burden you carry is meant to be shared with people because some burdens were never meant to be placed in human hands in the first place. There are certain weights the soul feels that no conversation, no explanation, and no amount of sympathy can truly lift. These are the burdens meant to guide you inward, toward the quiet spaces of your heart where only Allah listens. Sometimes you try to speak about your pain, but the words feel too small for what you carry. Sometimes you share, but you walk away feeling emptier, misunderstood, or exposed in ways you didn't intend. That is when Allah teaches you that some struggles are not wounds to be displayed, but invitations to be drawn closer to Him. There are pains that are sacred. They cleanse you. They make you fall into sujood with a sincerity you didn't know you had. They soften the heart in ways comfort never could. When Allah keeps certain matters between you and Him, it isn't because you're alone. It's because He is protecting your heart from relying on anyone but Him. He is guarding you from placing your healing in hands that cannot heal. He knows that if every sorrow was carried to people, you would miss the sweetness of whispering your hurt to the one who already knows every detail of it. Your burden transforms when you stop handing it to creation and start handing it to the Creator. What felt heavy becomes a means of elevation. What felt confusing becomes a path to clarity. What felt like loneliness becomes the deepest companionship. Not every burden is meant to be spoken aloud, because some are meant to reshape your soul in silence, to strengthen your tawakkul, and to remind you that the one who gave you the test is the only one who can carry you through it. Your wounds are not a sign of weakness. They are signs that your heart is being prepared for a deeper connection with your Lord. Sometimes the pain you experience feels like it's tearing you apart, but in reality, it is carving out space within you for something greater, something more beautiful, something that only Allah can fill. There are moments when you look at your scars and think they are proof of your fragility, but often they are the very evidence of your resilience, that you have endured, that you kept walking, that you kept believing even when the night felt endless. Allah allows certain wounds not to break you, but to purify you from attachments that were weighing you down, to soften a heart that had grown tired, and to guide you back to a place of sincerity and surrender. Sometimes the journey of healing requires your heart to crack so that light can enter. It is through these cracks that humility grows, that compassion deepens, that faith becomes more real. When everything is easy, the heart becomes careless. It forgets its need for Allah. It becomes distracted by the world. But when pain comes, it wakes you up. It pushes you to your knees. It makes you whisper prayers you had forgotten. It teaches you to rely on Allah in ways you never did before. And in that vulnerability, a new relationship with your Creator begins. One built not on habit, but on longing. Not on routine, but on genuine connection. Your wounds are part of your training. They take you from knowing Allah with your mind to knowing Him with your heart. They remind you that true strength is not found in being unbroken, but in being able to rise after breaking, to turn to Allah after falling, and to let your pain lead you back to the one who heals hearts in ways the world never can. People may listen, but only Allah truly understands the language of your tears. You can pour your heart out to someone, describe every detail, every fear, every memory that haunts you, yet still feel unseen. There is a depth within you that no human ear can hear and no human heart can fully comprehend. Sometimes you speak and the words fall short. Sometimes you cry and others see only the tears, not the ocean behind them. But Allah, He knows the ocean. He knows the storm beneath your silence, the weight behind your breath, the ache behind every heartbeat. Before a single tear escapes your eyes, He already knows why it formed. There is something sacred about this reality. It means that you never have to explain yourself to Him. You never have to fear being misunderstood, judged, or dismissed. You don't have to search for the right words, because He understands even the words you cannot find. When you pray, your voice may shake, your sentences may break, your mind may wander, yet Allah still listens with a mercy deeper than anything you have ever felt. He listens not just to your words, but to the condition of your soul. Sometimes Allah withholds human understanding so you will finally turn to Him. He lets you experience the emptiness of being unheard so you can taste the fullness of being heard by the most compassionate. He closes the doors of people so you enter the door of dua more sincerely. Every tear you cry in solitude is witnessed, recorded, and answered in ways you may not recognize yet. What you feel is never lost with Him. What you hide is never hidden from Him. And what you struggle to express is perfectly understood by the one who created your heart, shaped its emotions, and knows exactly what it needs to heal. The more you rely on people, the more disappointed you become. The more you rely on Allah, the more at peace you feel. Human beings by nature are limited. Their hearts change, their attention shifts, their capacity fluctuates. You may turn to someone with hope that they will comfort you, lift you, or guide you, but sometimes they are too busy, too tired, or too burdened themselves to carry what you place in their hands, and it's not their fault. They were never created to handle the weight of your soul. When you expect people to fill the spaces only Allah can fill, disappointment becomes inevitable. There's a quiet kind of pain that comes from depending on the wrong source. It drains you. It leaves you feeling unstable, insecure, constantly wondering if people will stay, if they'll care, if they'll understand. But when you shift that reliance toward Allah, everything inside you begins to settle. You stop chasing reassurance from the outside because you learn that peace comes from the one who placed tranquility in the hearts of believers. Relying on Allah doesn't mean you don't love people or value them. It means you don't place your emotional survival in their hands. When you rely on Allah, your heart becomes anchored. Life may shake, but you don't fall apart as easily. The world may disappoint you, but you don't break as deeply. You begin to see people as gifts, not lifelines, blessings, not foundations. And in that shift, peace enters your life in a way you've never felt before. Allah becomes the one you confide in, the one you trust, the one you lean on. And when He holds you, no disappointment from creation can truly shake you. In relying on Him, you discover a strength and serenity that no human promise can ever give. Silence in pain is not loneliness. It is a private conversation between you and the one who created your heart. There are moments when you withdraw, when you sit in quiet corners of your life and feel as though the world has forgotten you. But that silence you feel is not empty. It is filled with the presence of Allah in ways you may not yet recognize. When words become too heavy to speak and tears become your only language, you are not alone. You are being gently guided into a space where your heart can finally breathe without the noise of people's opinions, expectations, or misunderstandings. Sometimes Allah removes the ears of people so you can speak to Him more honestly. He lets the room around you fall quiet so your soul can rise in remembrance. What you feel in those silent moments is not abandonment, it is an invitation to turn inward, to reconnect with your Creator, to feel His nearness in the very place where you assumed there was nothing but emptiness. Silence becomes a sanctuary, a place where the heart whispers the words it was too afraid to say aloud. In that stillness, your soul begins to understand what it means to rely on Allah alone. It learns that peace doesn't come from being surrounded by people. It comes from being held by the one who never leaves. You begin to see that the pauses in life, the quiet seasons, the moments of solitude are often the times Allah brings you closest to Him. They soften your heart, deepen your faith, and clear your vision. So the silence you fear is often the very space where Allah is mending you, strengthening you, and preparing you for what comes next. Allah tests you not to break you, but to purify you and draw you back to Him. There are moments in life when the weight of your trials feels unbearable, when you wonder why your world seems to fall apart, just as you thought you were finding your balance. You may look at your hardships and interpret them as signs of weakness or punishment, but often they are signs of deep divine care. When Allah loves a servant, He refines them. He removes the illusions they cling to, strips away the attachments that harm them, and opens their eyes to truths they would never have discovered in comfort. Tests are not meant to crush you. They are meant to uncover you, to reveal the strength, resilience, and sincerity hidden inside you. Hardship is a mirror. It shows you what your heart is attached to, what your soul needs to let go of, and where your reliance truly lies. When life becomes difficult, your dua becomes more real, your sujood becomes deeper, and your heart becomes softer. You start turning to Allah with a vulnerability you never had when things were easy. This shift is the purification of the soul, the washing away of spiritual dust that accumulated when you were distracted by the world. Every tear you shed in hardship is counted. Every moment you endure is lifting you. And every test you face is customizing your spiritual journey in ways designed only for you. What you see as a closed door might be the very protection that saves you. What feels like a delay might be a hidden mercy reshaping your destiny. In every struggle, there is a message. Return to the one who controls your heart, your life, and your path. Your test is not a sign that Allah is far. It is a sign that He is drawing you near. What feels heavy today may be the very thing that elevates you tomorrow. Sometimes the burdens you carry seem so overwhelming that you question how you will ever rise again. You look at your circumstances and see only weight. Weight on your heart, on your mind, on your soul. But what you don't see yet is how this very heaviness is shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for a version of yourself you haven't met. Allah often hides elevation within struggle, growth within discomfort, and transformation within pain. What looks like a mountain blocking your path might actually be the mountain that builds your spiritual muscles as you climb it. There are moments when you break down and wonder why things had to become so difficult. You feel delayed, held back, or pushed into situations that stretch you beyond what you think you can handle. But in those same moments, something inside you deepens. Your patience lengthens. Your faith becomes more sincere. Your connection with Allah becomes more intimate. The heaviness forces you to slow down, to reflect, to turn inward. And in doing so, you begin to see parts of yourself and parts of your relationship with Allah that you never paid attention to before. Sometimes the very thing that hurts the most becomes the catalyst for the most beautiful change in your life. A heartbreak may push you toward Allah in a way comfort never did. A setback may redirect you to a path far better than the one you were chasing. A period of waiting may cultivate humility, reliance, and strength that you could not have gained any other way. Elevation doesn't always feel like rising. Sometimes it feels like breaking, stretching, and carrying. But once the weight lifts, you will see that it was never meant to crush you. It was meant to build you into someone capable of receiving the blessings Allah has already written for you. Every hardship carries within it a hidden gift, a doorway to divine wisdom and spiritual growth. When a trial enters your life, it rarely feels like a gift. It feels disruptive, painful, confusing, and heavy. You might even wonder why Allah allowed it at all, why something so difficult had to cross your path. But often, what you see on the surface is not the true story. Beneath the discomfort lies a lesson, a transformation, a blessing that only reveals itself when the heart becomes still enough to reflect. Allah never sends hardship without purpose. He never decrees pain without planting within it something that will ultimately benefit your soul. Many times the gift is not in the situation itself, but in what it awakens within you. Hardship pushes you to ask questions you never asked before, to seek answers you overlooked during ease, to turn toward Allah with a sincerity you didn't know you had. It humbles you. It softens you. It teaches you compassion for others who suffer. It breaks the illusion that you are self-sufficient and reminds you of your constant dependence on the one who controls all things. This awakening is the gift, the kind of gift that reshapes your heart in ways comfort never could. Sometimes the gift is clarity. Hardship removes what is unnecessary and reveals what truly matters. It exposes false attachments, weak foundations, and the illusions you built your hopes upon. Through discomfort, Allah redirects you away from what harms you and towards what will grow you. Other times, the gift is strength. Strength you gain from enduring, from persevering, from refusing to let go of hope, even when everything seems uncertain. You may not recognize the gift while you're in the middle of the storm, but later, when the sky's clear and your heart has grown in ways you never expected, you will look back and realize that what once felt like a breaking was actually a blessing wrapped in struggle, guiding you toward a deeper understanding of Allah's mercy and a stronger connection with Him. Patience is not passive. It is trust in motion, believing Allah is working even when you cannot see it. Many people think sabr means simply sitting still or accepting pain without resistance, but true sabr is far more alive, far more powerful. It is the quiet strength that keeps you moving forward when everything inside you feels tired. It is the calm acceptance that what is written for you will reach you, and what is not meant for you will pass you by. Sabr is not the absence of emotion. It is the mastery of it, knowing that your heart can tremble. Your eyes can fill with tears, and yet your soul can still choose to trust Allah's timing. When you are waiting for something, sabr is the force that holds you together. It reminds you that delays are not denials, that Allah's plan is unfolding in ways you aren't meant to understand yet. While your mind wrestles with questions, your heart whispers, "My Lord knows." And that whisper becomes your anchor. It keeps you steady in moments of fear, uncertainty, or longing. You begin to realize that true patience is not a test of time. It is a test of faith, a test of whether you trust Allah even when the road feels dark. Sabr also transforms your relationship with hardship. Instead of seeing pain as punishment, you begin to see it as purification. Instead of seeing waiting as wasted, you see it as preparation. You start to understand that Allah is not withholding from you. He is shaping you into someone who can receive what He has written. Every moment of patience is building something inside you. Resilience, humility, insight, closeness to Allah. Qualities that would never have existed without the struggle. Real patience is movement. You continue to pray, continue to hope, continue to walk, not because everything makes sense, but because you trust the one who sees the entire picture while you see only a small piece. Through patience, you declare with your heart that Allah's wisdom is perfect, His timing flawless, and His care constant, even when the path feels slow and the answer still unseen. Surrendering your fears to Allah is the beginning of emotional freedom. Fear tightens the heart, fills the mind with noise, and makes the soul feel trapped inside its own worries. You carry uncertainties about the future, regrets from the past, and anxieties that build from moments you cannot control. These fears overwhelm you because you try to carry them alone, holding them with hands too small for the weight of life. But the moment you release them into the care of Allah, something shifts inside you. The chains loosen. The breath deepens. The heart begins to open slowly, gently, like a flower finally receiving light. Fear grows when you rely on yourself more than you rely on your Creator. You begin to think you must manage everything, fix everything, plan every detail, and anticipate every outcome. But life is not meant to be lived with that kind of pressure. Allah is the one who holds the decrees, writes the paths, opens the doors, and protects you from harm you never even knew existed. When you surrender to Him, you are not giving up control. You are returning it to the one who always had it. And that realization brings peace unlike anything the world can offer. Surrender does not mean you stop trying. It means you try with a heart free from the heaviness of fear. You do your best, but you trust Allah with the rest. You walk forward, but without the anxiety of forcing outcomes. You live with hope, not expectation, with effort, not fear, with belief, not panic. And in this surrender, you discover the tranquility your heart was searching for all along. When you hand your fears to Allah, you are telling your soul, I am held, I am protected, I am guided. And that truth becomes your shield through every uncertainty. Fear loses its power when you place your trust in the one who is more powerful than anything you fear. The heart finds peace. Not when life gets easier, but when remembrance of Allah becomes stronger. You may spend years waiting for circumstances to settle, believing that once the storm calms, your heart will finally breathe. But life rarely offers perfect stillness. There will always be something unfinished, something uncertain, something imperfect. If peace depended on the world being flawless, the heart would never rest. True peace begins not when the noise outside disappears, but when the remembrance of Allah becomes louder than anything else in your life. There is a quiet transformation that happens when you turn your heart towards your Creator. The things that once overwhelmed you begin to shrink. The fears that once felt unbearable become lighter. The problems that once filled your mind lose their power because your focus shifts from the creation to the Creator. Remembrance of Allah is not just the repetition of words. It is the reorientation of the soul. It is letting Allah is with me echo louder than every worry. It is allowing Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel to soften the anxiety in your breath. It is remembering that no matter how chaotic life becomes, the one who controls it all is never absent. The heart that remembers Allah becomes anchored. It may shake, but it does not fall. It may cry, but it does not crumble. Even in pain, it carries a quiet certainty that Allah's mercy surrounds it, that His wisdom guides every moment, and that His protection never sleeps. This certainty is what creates peace, a peace independent of circumstances, a peace that exists in the middle of storms, a peace that cannot be taken by the world because it was never given by the world. When you fill your days with dhikr, with gratitude, with reflection, you learn that peace is a choice your heart makes when it turns to Allah. Life may not get easier, but your heart becomes stronger, calmer, and more connected. And that connection becomes the home where your soul finally rests. The timing of Allah is never late. Every delay carries protection. Every detour carries purpose. There are moments in your life when you wait so long for something that your heart begins to ache with uncertainty. You look at others moving forward and wonder why your path seems paused. You make dua, you plan, you hope, yet the door remains closed. In those moments, it's easy to assume something has gone wrong, that you've been forgotten, or that your prayers are unheard. But Allah's timing is never based on your impatience. It is based on His perfect knowledge of what is best for your heart, your future, and your faith. Sometimes Allah delays what you want because He is protecting you from what you cannot see. A relationship you longed for may have carried heartbreak. An opportunity you chased may have led you away from Him. A dream you were ready for in your mind may have harmed you in your soul. Allah sees the dangers hidden behind what looks beautiful, the consequences hidden behind what looks promising. His delays are not punishments, they are shields. Every not yet is infused with mercy. Other times the delay is not about the world, it's about you. Allah knows when your heart is ready to receive what you're praying for. He knows the growth you still need, the healing you haven't finished, the lessons you haven't learned. If He were to give you the blessing too early, it might overwhelm you or slip from your hands. So He holds it until your heart is prepared to carry it with gratitude, humility, and wisdom. Every detour you experience is written with precision. The moments you thought were setbacks were actually redirections. The pauses you feared were delays were actually opportunities to become stronger, wiser, and closer to Allah. When the blessing finally arrives, you will realize it came at the exact moment your heart could handle it, appreciate it, and use it in the best way. Allah's timing is never late. It is perfectly aligned with your growth, your destiny, and the unseen mercy surrounding your life. Healing begins when you stop narrating your pain to people and start whispering it to the one who heals hearts. There is a point where retelling your struggle to others no longer soothes you. It exhausts you. You find yourself repeating the same story, hoping someone will finally understand the depth of what you feel. But instead, you walk away feeling even more exposed, more misunderstood, more drained. That is when your soul is telling you that your healing will not come from human validation, but from divine connection. The moment you shift your pain from the ears of people to the mercy of Allah, something within you begins to soften and heal. Human beings can offer sympathy, but they cannot rewrite your destiny. They can listen, but they cannot enter the hidden chambers of your heart. They can comfort you for a moment, but they cannot heal wounds carved by fate. Only Allah can reach places inside you that no human hand, word, or gesture can reach. When you bring your pain to Him in sujud, when you let your tears fall in the quiet of the night, when you speak to Him with nothing but honesty and weakness, you feel a relief that cannot be explained. A relief that does not come from getting answers, but from being heard by the one who knows the entire story. Healing begins the moment you stop seeking what only Allah can give from people who were never created to give it. When you choose dua over complaint, connection over comparison, reliance over expectation, your heart starts to breathe differently. The weight you carried begins to lift, not because the situation has changed, but because the place where you have placed your pain has changed. Whispering your hurt to Allah transforms it. It becomes worship, it becomes trust, it becomes a step toward healing. And in that sacred exchange, you realize that Allah was never asking you to be strong for the world. He was asking you to come to Him exactly as you are, so He could make you strong through Him. When you begin to see your life through the lens of purpose instead of pressure, everything shifts. Key point 14 is not about escaping responsibility. It's about restoring alignment. Most people wake up every day overwhelmed, not because their life is too heavy, but because they are carrying things they were never designed to hold. The moment you start releasing what drains you and embracing what grows you, you begin to move from survival to intention. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It requires honesty. You must sit with yourself and ask, what am I doing out of fear? What am I doing out of guilt? What am I doing because I'm afraid of disappointing someone? The answers to those questions reveal the weights you must lay down. Living with intention means you stop reacting to life and start directing it. You become deliberate in what you consume, who you give your energy to, and what goals you pursue. You understand that every choice either strengthens your purpose or suffocates it. When you choose intention, you choose clarity. And clarity has a way of exposing distractions, breaking unhealthy cycles, and pulling you out of environments that shrink your vision. Intentional living demands that you stop apologizing for prioritizing your peace, your growth, and your calling. It teaches you to take small steps every day that align with who you want to become, not who you used to be. The beautiful thing is that once you start living this way, confidence rises naturally. You stop second-guessing yourself because your actions finally match your values. You move with quiet conviction instead of noisy anxiety. People may not understand your new boundaries, your new focus, or your new discipline, and that's okay. This chapter isn't about being understood. It's about becoming aligned. When alignment enters your life, you walk lighter, think clearer, and rise higher. Not because life got easier, but because you finally stopped fighting against the truth of who you are and started living in agreement with it. In the end, everything you are seeking, peace, confidence, clarity, strength, begins the moment you stop living by pressure and start living by purpose. Life will not wait for you to feel ready. Destiny does not pause for hesitation. You either rise into the person you were created to become, or you remain trapped in the patterns that were designed to keep you small. This is your moment to choose differently, to release the weight of fear, to silence the noise of doubt, and to step boldly into a life that reflects your true worth. You owe it to yourself to walk in alignment, to protect your spirit, and to honor the greatness God placed inside you. Stand up, breathe deeply, and move forward with the kind of courage that shifts atmospheres. Your future is not waiting for perfect conditions. It's waiting for a decisive you. Today is the day you step into that version.